Millions of black people must be deprogrammed. The black slaves of the 21st century are those who cannot unlearn the many mental enslaving lies that white oppressive forces have indoctrinated into our collective minds. If we do not research the facts of the past, the atrocities of the past can be easily repeated. With that statement in mind, here's a historical fact of the past that all black people should consider. Throughout Western history, empires that maintain power over the oppressed population have always done so by manipulating the collective minds of the oppressed. They go out of their ways to make sure that the oppressed population are perpetually misled and manipulated to think in ways that aids the oppressors in maintaining their control and social dominance over the oppressed population. This is a consistent fact that's remained true throughout history. Therefore, the oppressed population ways of thinking and collective mindset is a formulation that had been shrewdly embedded into their collective minds by their oppressors without them even knowing it. Today, this heinous practice and tradition still continues in regards to black people living under white dominance. Embedded within most information that we receive from the white society are fraudulent propaganda that are deliberately designed to manipulate the black masses to think and behave in ways that are against our own self-interest and in ways that serves and protects the interests of the white society. It's a true reason why many black people perceive ourselves as our worst enemies and reveres the white society. Millions of black people are currently functioning based upon a mindset that has been deliberately formulated into our collective minds by white mass manipulation experts and white social engineering scientists. This is the truth, and it is the type of knowledge that they withhold from us. They don't want us to learn this knowledge. You know, when black people limit our pursuit of knowledge to only what's taught by white people, we're allowing them to mentally enslave us. This is clearly the case in regards to the Bible. When we think that we're going to liberate ourselves from white oppression using literature that the white society has provided to countless millions of us throughout history is in fact an idiotic premise. True black liberation comes from learning the truths that white oppressive forces tries to withhold from us. The information they don't want us to ever learn. That's precisely what I'm doing. I teach the hidden truths that white oppressive forces don't want the black masses to learn. This is what puts my life in danger. This is why my content is so heavily shadow banned, but I still teach nonetheless. Through the white society's monopoly over information that we systematically receive, white oppressive forces have influenced the group psychology of black people in very negative and disturbing ways. They've got millions of black people now believing many things that literally insults our own intelligence. And we witnessed this. If you're a black person that believes the ridiculous claim that we made the N-word ours and that using it now ridiculously empowers us, if you're a black person that believes that a Bible that was in fact written by history's proven most ungodliest group of people contains the true words of God, and if although the Bible was brutally beaten into the blood-soaked minds of our enslaved ancestors, if you, however, believe that it will now ridiculously set us free, and if you're a black person that now insists that we're our worst enemies, in spite of a brutally horrific history and ongoing reality that proves that white oppressive forces are still in fact our worst enemies, and if you're a black person that also believes that the endemic problems amongst the black population are rooted within something that's inherently wrong within ourselves, instead of being directly caused by social inequalities created by white racism, If any of these are your thoughts and beliefs, then you are thinking exactly as you've been programmed to think through white social engineering. In regards to our plight and condition, millions of black people now believe many things that literally insults our own intelligence, as by deliberate design. Moreover, many makes enemies of those of us presenting facts proving that those beliefs are false. They've got our people so mentally enslaved that telling the truth now literally offends millions. And many makes enemies of those who tries to free their minds. This is our hidden reality. Our culture is turned upside down. Usually people have the right to believe whatever they choose to believe. However, there's a profound exception to that rule when it comes to the oppressed. The oppressed must gain a clear, concise, and accurate understanding of our plight and condition in order to liberate ourselves. Because if our understandings remains flawed, then all of our liberating strategies that stems from those flawed understandings will also be flawed. This is the true reason why white oppressive forces currently have the black population drowning in so much false information in regards to our plight and condition. Keeping our beliefs flawed is literally how white oppressive forces prevents our liberation, because it prevents us from developing the proper counter strategies that are required in order to liberate ourselves. Therefore, those black people who are insisting on holding on to their false beliefs are literally functioning as wardens of their own mental prisons. This is why those of us who know the truth must teach. African proverb. To learn and understand the truth of our plight and condition, you have to first elevate your mind above a biblical fairy tale and a silly slave syndrome myth. Our plight has absolutely nothing to do with a biblical fairy tale that was in fact written by our most ungodliest enemies. And our collective condition has nothing to do with a silly slave syndrome myth. That myth presents what would in fact be the least effective method used for controlling generations of millions of people. It's simply not how true brainwashing is achieved. It's time to elevate our minds above such ignorant premises. When we assign our plight and condition onto easily proven works of fiction, we are in fact making damn fools of ourselves. Not because millions of us now believe those two premises are true doesn't make them true. It only means that many have received the same false information and no one bothered to fact check them to find out whether or not they were actually true. The Bible and the Willie Lynch letter are both fictional literatures that are being deliberately used to keep our beliefs regarding our plight and conditions flawed, thus literally preventing us from developing the proper counter strategies that are necessary in order to truly liberate ourselves. Here are the facts of our true plight and condition. Power doesn't relinquish itself of power regardless of how it got its power. Those in power instead implements covert means for maintaining their power. Because the wealth of the Western world was built and continues upon the exploitation of Africa and African people, and because the white society's exploitation of Africans has provided it with an era which has flourished most throughout history, to allow this era to possibly end would be directly against the interests of the white society. Therefore, the white ruling elites secretly deploys hidden nefarious psychological warfare and social engineering systems for maintaining white social dominance and control over the black population, and that facilitates the white society's long-term oppression of black people. Those that are presently insisting that black people are no longer being oppressed are in fact ignorant of our true reality. Because although most black people no longer experience the type of blatant oppressive tactics as our grandparents experienced it, black people are, however, still being oppressed by white oppressive forces. When the blatant white oppression tactics used in the past for maintaining white social dominance over the black population had resulted in unprecedented unified black protests and had become socially unacceptable with the changing times, the white oppressors did not abandon those oppression tactics. They instead merely developed and reinvented it with much more sophistication. Today, unlike the blatant oppressive tactics used in the past that black people could easily identify and therefore unify ourselves against, today's modern oppressive tactics is not easily recognized, nor are they easily comprehended by most of their black victims. White oppression of black people always works best when the black victims no longer recognizes the oppression tactics. Whenever history's proven most notoriously narcissistic and racist group of people are in power, they will always deploy systems for maintaining their position of power and for controlling those who they want to subjugate. It's a fact. Gaining an understanding of how we're being currently oppressed also begins with learning the social sciences that people's thoughts and behaviors aligns with the information that they repetitively receive and have accepted as being true. Therefore, the white oppressors constantly creates and feeds false information into the collective minds of the black population that keeps us thinking and behaving in ways that facilitates their long-term oppression of black people. They keep us thinking collectively in ways that are against our own interests and in ways that are against our liberation, and that instead serves and protects the white society's interests and facilitates the long-term oppression of us. It's the true reason why millions of black people now self-identifies by the N-word, perceive ourselves as being our own worst enemies, and reveres and defends Caucasians in spite of such a brutally horrific history of the contrary. These are direct outcomes and symptoms of the white society's monopoly over information that black people receives. Because they control the information that we receive, this allows them to control what we believe. And they keep us believing things that prevents us from unifying ourselves against them and that aids them in maintaining their social dominance and control over the black population. It is the truth of our plight and condition. It's truly mental slavery. The most potent weapon of the oppressors is the mind of the oppressed. Stephen Biko said that. Therefore, the physical chains have been replaced by psychological chains. And those black people who don't critically think never notices their mental chains. You can learn more by visiting my website, the www, The Black People's Matrix. It's the title of my book also. You can order it. It's now available. Brothers and sisters, I post for those who are tired of believing in things that insults their own intelligence. There are social sciences. If you want to really liberate yourself, you have to do something that is against your own indoctrination. That means put down your fictional Bibles, put aside the silly Willie Lynch myth, and start learning the social sciences that the white society deploys against us. Matter of fact, I want to recommend a video I want you to watch on YouTube to help you. Check out the video called The Century of Self. The Century of Self. It won't particularly talk about the relationship between black people and white people, but those same tactics demonstrated in the video, The Century of Self, are the same systems the white society deploys against black people. It is time to wake up to our reality. One love and peace.